They'll have no problem commuting.
No, they don't. Now, one thing no one can take away from us is our location.
Right on. You guys are central to every.
That's exactly right. So that will always work to our advantage, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's always going to be a driver for us. The driver for us is the value of the education. We place such a high value on education, it makes this that much more desirable for our location.
Right on. Okay.
We could be a mediocre school district or one that doesn't perform really high and be in a good location. And, boy, this is going to be really dangerous, and I know you're recording me. What separates us from a Carrollton? Right? In terms of, there's lots of things, but from a school district standpoint, their demographics are completely different, in terms of what's going on. They have pockets where people want to be because of the school.
Right.
But a community as a whole is not, as desirable as Coppell because of the school district.
I gotcha. Yeah.
What drives our value is the school district first. And people, when you do surveys and those kind of things, what brought you here, typically it's going to be school district first.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Why are you in Coppell? School district. Okay. And that's even for the retirees, the folks that they got here because they wanted their kids in the school district.
Right on. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, that's the COO I was talking about. That's essentially the reason.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the next, again, it's not a school district issue in a sense. And then the next, take your COO, it's like, okay, well, my kids have gone through the schools, my house is appreciated in great value. Then they start talking about the taxes.
Yeah.
Well, half the taxes are the school's taxes, and that's because of the way the state funds has nothing to do with us. So that creates a little bit of a bind.
Because why am I still paying into it? My kids are gone.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So you have some of that flight, if you will, which then creates open doors for more of the demographic that is growing in our community.
And what we found out, it's interesting, the demographer for the district was presenting the same night I was presenting at the board, saying he was before me, and he was talking about how the problem with the appreciation is the young parents can't afford the legacy homes,
right.
So they're not moving into homes yet. So, and like for instance, Cypress Waters is going to have such a high value at the date of opening. That's a hard entry point too for young families.
Right.
And so you've got a couple of things.
And the school district's growing down with the single-family homes down in Irving.
Yes.
Which is predominantly Southeastern Asian, Indian type community.
Yeah.
And so so here's a challenge for the school district. They're opening up the middle school down there.
Yeah.
Right, in terms of what's going on. Middle school West, I guess is what I mean.
Yeah, they just named it West.
They're still calling it West.
Yeah, they're still calling it West.
Instead of South. But that's okay.
That was a 3-hour board meeting because of that very issue.
So anyway, so you have Lee Elementary, which is 99.9% predominantly Indian. You have the middle school, which in time will be predominantly Indian. And so while we have one school district, there's going to be demographically even a distinct difference in terms of the student population just by natural boundary lines.
You see that there's a physical boundary line that's creating the split?
I just call it south of Beltline.
Okay. That's interesting. Is that where you would see
I can tell you that that's true. I just understand that's where a lot of their growth is coming. It's not coming from here.
Okay.
Because there's just no place to add homes.
I see.
Or there are very few homes still to be added.
So the old Coppell is
South
primarily north of Beltline.
Beltline. Yeah, absolutely. As a geographic, when you look at a map, for Coppell, all our residential is basically north of East Beltline, Southwestern, and all our commercial is basically Freeport, kind of that way to the west.
Yeah.
And we do go down to 635, but it's all business commercial on one side. Then Cypress Waters. The thing about Cypress Waters is, though, they're predominantly single bedroom, so they're not going to be that many.
Right.
But all the growth for single family residential is in Irving. in the school district at Valley Ranch and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
area. And that is predominantly in Indian communities. So just by natural where they're living is going to force this kind of distinct.
Yeah. Is that where then you would see the businesses that target those communities being so?
That's what's starting to happen.
I think there's an Indian Dance Academy. Is it
There's
down there?
a little grocery store that's going in down there. And,
The restaurants.
yeah, so they're servicing that, which is great. I mean, it's part of the
Sure.
market. It's driven by the market.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be an interesting challenge to the school district. How are you when they've never really, they're facing it and they have been facing it the last few years, but that's a new challenge to the school district. If you think about it, we've been predominantly a white, single, homogeneous district, and up to 5 or 6 years ago, when really the population started really taking off.
Yeah.
I think, the minority population in the CISD is actually larger than the kind of Caucasian population.
Okay. I'm not surprised at that. I haven't seen specific numbers,
And
but
it's going to continue to grow.
Yeah, yeah.
Which then gets into some of the challenges of, I'm going to use the word race. You probably have heard, they're talking about having prayer rooms. And, I mean, there's some challenges that come. So I'm not only not educating the kid, I'm also having to deal with the, religious backgrounds and, whether it's Muslim or any other type of faith. Those traditions are different than our traditions, and those traditions are so different that their demands are going to be placed on the school district, and the school district's going to have to address them. However they address them is how they address them.
Sure.
They're going to have to address them. So that will be a challenge. And then the next thing that happens is think about the kind of the flywheel effect of as that demographic continues to grow. I'm not going to call it white flight, but do you have that issue where, you know what, it's not the same anymore?
Right.
And so, again, for the school district, again, it isn't a matter of excellence. They're still going to perform at an excellent. My expectation is they're going to still perform at an excellent level. It's just going to be a different. As an example, band will be more important than football.
Oh, sure.
I'm just using that. That's a terrible example, but that's, sports in general have been Coppell's calling card among, state championship runs and all this kind of good stuff. And, maybe it's the arts. Maybe our community, maybe the arts are a calling card in the future.
Right.
How does that demographic, so that would be a question strategically, how does that demographic and what their life experiences are and what they like to do and what's important to them, how does it impact extracurricular programs? And then what's that impact, as far as the community as a whole?
Yeah.
One of the things I hear, I don't know this and I haven't witnessed it, one of the things I hear as an example are, this year, we made a pretty good run into the state playoffs in football.
Yeah.
My understanding is that, the band, primarily Southeastern Asian, after halftime, half the stands leave. So they're, I don't know that.
Oh,
When you talk to somebody,
sure.
Not that that's important, but it's an indication of what's important.
Yeah.
We're not really here because the football team, which in small town America,
It's a big deal.
big deal the whole time, and then it's after halftime.
Wow.
So my kid performed. It's time for me to go.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, when you're talking about, like you say, more than half the population now are not in the school district are not your Caucasian white football fans.
Right.
I came here to watch my kid play the tuba. Done.
I'm out of here.
I don't even get this game anyways.
So that brings up an issue. The population for CISD, because of the students, it is a higher minority. Our population as a community, we're probably in the 22 to 25%. So
Okay.
So remember, the school district stretches much larger than we are.
Right.
And so that oneness issue is